First Bank Nigeria Limited hosted the third edition of its Fintech Summit in Lagos, which focused on the theme, Banking plus Tech, Solving Problems. It brought together tech experts, startups, regulators, and other stakeholders to deliberate pressing issues, trends, and upgrades in the application of technology in the financial services industry. In his opening remarks, the MD/CEO of First Bank, Dr. Adeshola Adedutan, said despite attaining 125 years as a financial institution, it has continued to reinvent itself by embracing innovation to drive its services.
What has kept our institution going, unbroken, for 125 years is nothing but our ability to lead innovation, our ability to disrupt, and our ability to be part of disruption. Part of what is fully ingrained in the DNA of this institution is our ability to reinvent and continuously reinvent ourselves. And that speaks volume. So when we gather here today, and we're talking about financial technology, is actually how do we begin to harness the various opportunities that digital revolution presents to us, not just as a financial institution, but also as a country. Today, as an institution, we have more than 8 million people using our first mobile app, using our USSD platform. More than 3 million people on our first mobile app. Today, we have over 35,000 agents, First Bank agents called First Money, spread across the nooks and crannies of the country. Part of our own contribution to assisting the country to address financial inclusion. But there's still a lot that can be done, leveraging technology. And those are the things that, as a country, if we don't address them, then we don't have, the future doesn't look bright. The financially excluded population today is significant. How do we begin to reduce the cost to serve such that we can have a significant chunk of our countrymen and women financially included? For us, this is a platform that we treasure a lot, an opportunity to bring all the thought leaders in this particular space together, begin to harness your knowledge in a positive manner that will lead to positive impact on the economy. At First Bank, part of the reason why we've said we are woven into the fabric of Nigeria, and Africa indeed, it's everything for us is not about profitability. Profitability is very important, but economic growth, ensuring the well-being of our country is also a key pillar that we have watched over time. Our predecessors have handed it over to us, and we are going to hand it over to the next generation. Everything is not about profitability. It's about how do we begin to build a more resilient country, a more inclusive country, a country that we can all be very proud of to say we're Nigerians.
On his part, the group executive, E&RP First Bank Nigeria, Mr. Chuma Ezirim, highlighted the opportunities for deepening its financial transactions through technology.
Where do we see opportunities? You know, we are one of the very few markets in the world, and I'm talking of Nigeria, where you can instantly pay people, and those transactions are settled. So we call it immediacy. But where we see the future is in the spontaneous, the future of payments, okay? Where, I don't have to think, I don't have to plan it, and I'm able to make payments, spontaneously, okay? So for us, real-time processing is big. We see opportunities in mobile payments. We are still scratching the surface based on what I told you about Brazil, okay? So we see opportunities around our apps, USSD, QR codes, our e-commerce. And just to let you know, in First Bank, our digital banking transactions now have outgrown card payment transactions. We see opportunities in person-to-person, person-to-government, person-to-business, business-to-government, all sorts. We see opportunities in that area. And as you guys also know, We are present in 6 other African countries, and we have a full-fledged bank in the UK. Okay, so we are not only looking at Nigeria. We are in DRC, we are in Guinea, we are in Ghana, we are in Senegal, we are in Gambia, we are in Sierra Leone. And like I said, we have a full-fledged bank in UK. So we'll also be looking at, working with you to see how we can explore huge opportunities that exist there. DRC is about 83 million people. DRC is 2.5 times the size of Nigeria in landmass. But there are less than 5 million citizens that have bank accounts. So huge opportunities. And then, we also, looking at data, okay? We just employed a chief data officer. So we see opportunities around data. And as you know, we are 125 years, okay? And we have tons of data, okay, that we can work with you to see how we can explore.
Keynote speaker at the event, Mr. Victor Asemota, founder Swifta Systems, stressed the need for banks to focus on lending and corporates while giving the payment space to fintechs.
Between 2001 and this is now 2019, this is almost 18 years now, a lot has happened. But when it comes to lending to small business, no bank has moved. And I think the biggest problem there is actually data. Then the second problem is, actually also understanding how small businesses work. I don't think even the guys who are currently doing lending now even understand their customers, because they don't understand things like cash cycles. In Kenya, it's interesting. People were taking money and using it for sports betting. Sort of defeats the purpose. So the guy who uses that money for sports betting is probably not the person you should be lending to. Something that happened in Kenya that caught my eye, there's a small company called Possession. They aggregate cooperatives. As we're looking at the different types of cooperatives, there are, like, I think for transport cooperatives alone in Kenya, there are about 4,000 transport cooperatives. Most of the cash, in Kenya is actually with cooperatives. Call them SACCOs. We now realize that cooperatives could also lend to other cooperatives. People could actually lend to people. So that's something that's going to grow like wildfire. And, it's, I would say I'm sorry for the banks, but, at the end of the day, if the banks are not in it now, because it's something the banks are not even seeing yet. The same thing with informal lending that already happens in Nigeria. If you actually look at all those trade groups, they're already cooperatives. So lending already happens.
Dr. Adeshola Adedunton and Mr. Victor Asemota speak further on the theme of the summit.
At Volksbank, we've always put our customers, they are the epicenter of all our business strategy. The business of banking is difficult today to divorce the business of banking from technology. Technology and banking now go hand in hand. Indeed, many people have described modern day banks as technology company providing financial services. So for us, that confluence between technology and financial services is a very, very important confluence to us. It's a confluence that holds significant promise to the future of banking. And our bank, First Bank, and I did mention this, the reason why we have existed over the last 105 years, and we're clear in our mind that this institution is going to exist in perpetuity, is the fact that we are always in the forefront of innovation. We are always part of disruption. That way we cannot get disrupted. So because we know the role, we're clear in our mind, the role that technology is going to play in banking now and in the future. That is where that conversation is taking place. So it's a platform for us to interact with a number of the financial technology companies to begin to work together to create the right ecosystem that will lead to further growth of our sector.
At the end of the day, what does banking do? Banking is an innovation that serves people, and tech is just a tool to also serve people. Now, it's people in those institutions, in banking and in tech, that actually end up doing the work of serving people. So tech on its own is useless without people interacting. So that was what I tried to bring out, and I gave instances, 3 instances where the people component was actually the most important part in making things, really, really scale. For Maza Health, we didn't understand what was going on. It was later when we had the data, we now analyzed it and understood what was happening. We now were able to understand how people use financial services in rural areas. For Nubank, if not for their large customer service departments, they won't have the number of people that they had on their platform. For Omni branches, our back office is also our strongest asset. And we have that in multiple languages, and it's people actually talking to people. That's making the tech work. On its own, the tech is useless without the people components. It's people to people, using tech and all other innovations. That's what I try to highlight.
One of our key strategic area of focus is financial inclusion. We believe as a bank, we have what it takes to profitably promote financial inclusion, and that is what we're doing. The number of agents that we have today, like you said, about 35,000, we are not yet where we want to be, so it's a moving target. But more importantly, we are leveraging technology to promote financial inclusion. And again, it's an integral part of the conversation that will be happening today. Over and above what we're doing with USSD, we begin to engage with the fintech, the key players in the fintech sector, to see whether there are additional solutions that we can partner and work with them, so that we can layer additional products, additional services on what it is that we're doing. We're very clear in our mind that we are already on the right path, and working with the central bank, working with other financial institutions, we will get to the target that the governor of the central bank has set for himself, and we're there to support him. Thank you.
A major takeaway from the summit is the point raised by keynote speaker Mr. Victor Asemota, which is the need for financial institutions like First Bank to always consider the people component before deploying tech and innovation to deepen financial services.